What's up, everybody? Tim Conley here, and we've got another really good coaching session with a guy named Tim. So it's the Tim Show. We're going to overcome 10 years of struggle. Something that started off as just a little side hustle, a little side business, and now Tim Cohagen wants to go full time. So let's check it. Tim, tell me about yourself, because you were letting me know that you've got experience, and which is great. It's like great having someone on who has a deep amount of experience. So, with all that experience, why aren't you just crushing it?
Yeah, that's the great question. So, I have about 18 years experience. I started with doing pay-per-click with Google. Right after they launched. And I did that for a few years for a small company. I ended up working for a yellow page company in New York City.
Okay.
I was doing door-to-door sales of internet advertising in the mid-2000s when nobody knew what it was. I was selling it, and then I was managing the clients. I did that for years. Then I went and I worked for the third largest advertising agency in the world.
Okay.
And I was managing about 35 million a year in advertising spend for Fortune 500 clients. And this is around 2009, towards the end of that, I came across a freelance website, and I thought, well, if I do this for a living for all these major corporations, I can do this on the side for some extra money. Right. And that's what I started doing. Fast forward 10 years, and I'm still doing that. And I've had a full-time job the whole time. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't go full-time with all this experience and knowledge. As I started listening to you, I found you through a mile. So I was watching.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. And so I'm in some mentor groups, and it never clicked that I wasn't charging what my value is.
Okay.
And because it was extra income, it was just nice to make an extra, I don't know if you want me to say amounts, but.
Well, you can say whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So, so for 10 years, I was doing about $30,000 a year as a side gig, plus my full time at an agency, which paid very well. So I was happy. I was doing very well. But the whole time going, okay, so how do I go full time to where I do this myself? I would need about 150 clients, because I was only charging since day one about $300 a month per client.
Yeah. You definitely need those gurus who say they can get you 15 to 30 clients every single month. You would need that. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm selling, and I'm actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
So my dilemma came with, how do I grow? How do I expand? And how do I do this for myself? And I couldn't do it. And then I started listening to you towards the end of last year, and I realized I wasn't charging anywhere near my value. So I took the $10,000 a year, 10 clients, that equals what my average salary was.
Okay.
Small hinges swing big doors. So I said, okay, my minimum now in December is $1,000 a month. So I went from $300 a month to $1,000 a month per client, and I was scared to pitch that. And I was very surprised. And I have a really good close ratio, by the way. So, And remember, I'm living for 10 years off of this freelance website. So I've gotten very accustomed and very used to this. And I was very scared to do that, but it was a side income gig. And so whatever, big deal if I don't win a client. And people didn't bat an eye at paying that. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's crazy. All right. So, I'm not going to dwell on how many years I didn't make what I should have made.
Right.
So then I put the philosophy down where I upped my value. So this month I went from $1,000 a month, and I average about 3 to 4 clients a month right now. Okay. Since December. My new minimum is 1,500. And I was scared to do that. And the first pitch I made, not a problem. Sign the contract. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So that works. So where I'm stuck now, so now I think I've got my pricing is fair.
Okay.
I'm charging $65 an hour, which I think is, it's what I'm making in the agency world. I've become accustomed and very used to how easy it is to get clients on the freelance website.
Okay.
And I haven't left that world. And that's now where I'm stuck are these one-offs. So every month, right? So we're at the end of May, and I'm pitching as of last week for June.
Okay.
Because these clients are like month to month, they're little. So your philosophy of 12 months, so you need these, but I'm still doing one-offs, and every once in a while I'll get a client that lasts for a while. In the past, I've done agency work for an agency that would hire me for years, and so now I knock on doors. Like, now I'm stuck.
Okay.
And I want to get away from the freelance website because I know that I can, but I don't. Here I am. So
all right. So there's a lot in there. Cool that you are finding like your groove. You're finding a decent amount that you say you're charging. Biggest problem that I see in that is you are saying I'm charging what I'm getting from my job, right? So if you paid yourself 100% of that money, how many people would you be able to hire with the leftover money?
None.
Exactly. Right? So like right there, you're still not charging enough.
Okay.
Because you still have to pay you, like you still have to get your salary. Like if you wanted to replace that income, you need to be able to replace the income and then have people do the labor. You need to, you can do this as like just by yourself if you like, but still do the math as if you were hiring people. Because one day you're going to look back and go, you know what? I don't think I want to do this for another 10 years. Right? Do this grind over and over and over again. Well,
right.
then where are you? Because you don't have any money to hire a team other than to take less money for yourself. So anytime you decide to go off on your own and quit the job, you don't have money to invest in a team because you never billed it. It was never factored into your billing. And that's something that you need to analyze first, because I love the fact that you raised your rates significantly, but now you're still at a part where you're not actually getting enough money to cover the costs of a company. So I want, for you and anyone watching this later, I want to be really clear. You never, ever have to start a company. You don't have to build an agency. You can just be you. But still, you need to bill as if you do have an agency. Because one day, you might actually want to hire people so you can stop working, or you have a bunch of extra money that you're sticking away in the bank and you just decide, I'm cashing out. I'm out of here, right? Yeah. That's what you do.
Yeah. And if my goal, in my perfect world, what I would like to do is pitch the clients, do strategy and not implementation.
Okay.
So I would like to bring a few people on, and I've tried to outsource, and it's, I mean, you obviously, it's difficult. It would be easier to take a cut in salary and hire someone local, which is where I would like to go. Mm-hmm. But then you're right. I'm still in that wheelhouse of, okay, but then there's no money left. So I either keep working full time and it'd be comfortable, but I would like to build that. I don't want to do implementation. I would like to do the sales and the strategy.
Okay. So at your current rate, what would you have to pay somebody to be able to replace all the labor?
I think I could get someone that's more like an assistant, like I had in the agency world, at $25 an hour.
Okay.
Uh, I think that, and then build them up, and then that would give me the ability to go out and sell more clients. I have to find those hiring clients too. So I'm going back into a world that I was at in the mid 2000s of selling. Um, yeah, I'm not going to find those on the freelance websites. There aren't many of those on
Right.
there. So I'm going to have to go out and start pitching clients, which I don't mind doing, but it's like, okay, where do I start? So then it comes down to, I wouldn't be able to hire someone full time today. That's scary to me,
Mm-hmm.
because if I lose clients, then so I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Let's solve the delivery problem before we figure out how to go get more people to throw at you, right? It's like what everybody always wants to go get, like, more customers. Like, I'll just go do that,
Right.
and never figure out the delivery problem. And so they just end up working crazy hours, and then they hate life. So first thing is, don't hire full time. You've spent time on freelancer sites. Are there not people as good as you on there?
There are. So last week, and I'm speaking to them again this week. I have a social media manager and a web developer that are willing to work at $25 an hour, and
Okay.
they're local. I have found those.
Okay.
And hopefully I can build it from there. I mean,
Okay.
is that a good idea?
Yeah, I think you should. That's the first thing, is actually hiring people with experience who are professionals and don't go full salary yet. Like, you're not going there yet because we don't have the demand yet. Right? So hiring someone full time and then have them sit around with not enough work would that's like, financially, that kind of sucks. But the worst part is you build bad habits. Is that somebody who doesn't have to work very hard for the salary that they're getting hates it when they have to actually work hard for the salary that they're getting.
Right.
They'll want a pay raise, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to build those bad habits. So then after that, you have these people you can use. So you said, do sales and strategy. What's missing is project management. Are you a good project manager? I'm a terrible project manager, right? So if you can, because you're going to manage the project, you're going to manage those two people. You can't just send them the work and say, hey, deliver me awesome work, right?
Yeah, so I guess I'd have to get a project manager then to come on and manage the project. So
eventually, yes, start there, start offloading this work to these people, and then what you're going to have to do is go out and find a client to cover the cost of those people, plus a little extra, plus your salary, your cut of that. So you've got project management costs. Then you've got overhead. That's got to get built in. If you don't cover your overhead, well, then you're still not getting ahead, right?
Right.
Then you've got, your pay, we've got to make sure that's in there. And then what's missing?
Clients?
Nope.
No?
In the billing. We're still in billing. I named like labor costs, named overhead, named your salary. What's missing?
I don't know.
Taxes.
Oh.
Any kind of fees, licensing, maybe you can throw that into overhead. Then you've got a big one. Starts with a P.
I don't know.
Profit.
Oh.
Because here's what most people get wrong, especially freelancers and anyone trying to kick off an agency. They're starting to build a team. They they cover labor, and they usually forget about overhead, but maybe they start figuring that one out pretty quick. But then they count every dollar left over as profit. It's like, no, you've still got to make your salary, and then your company still has to make a profit.
Okay, right.
We go back to that $65 an hour thing. Like we've immediately like wiped out that $65, and we haven't even gotten to profit yet. Right. So what I'm saying is that it's not necessary that you're going to have to raise, from 1,500 up. You're going to have to figure out how do you lower your costs in that 1,500. Because let's say your clientele, the people that you're good at getting, 1,500's it. Like they'll pay you $1,500 and they'll pay you for 12 months and they're happy with that. But you go to 1,501 and they're like, nah, I'm out of here, right? You're right at the top. Well, then your expenses, the labor and everything that's in that 1,500 need to come way down, right? Or you don't make any money. So total expenses should probably be no more than $1,000 out of that 1,500, so that you have $500 in profit every single month.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. So an add-on to that, and you mentioned it, is those clients for 12 months.
You're
that's where I have, because I don't want to keep fighting for a client month over month. I'd like to have those 10 clients and then get another 10 clients. And then at the end of the year, I've got 20 clients.
Yep.
Right. I mean, and then those costs, then I can put more back into the project management, the software, obviously an office that we don't need right now, but put money back in. So I don't mind growing. I don't want to be a huge company, but I'm very comfortable where I am right now, but I do all the work.
Right.
And if I want to go on vacation, well, no work gets done.
Right.
And my wife is not happy that I'm working wherever we are. Right. So, so that has to happen. But I also need to figure out how to get those clients at 12 months. I've never been a contract, sign a contract for 12 months. So that's where I'm stuck as well.
Okay. So contracts are not very enforceable in the marketing world.
I don't agree with them.
I think they're awesome, but you have to sue people if they don't agree, right? Sure. So contracts are great for both parties when they're written properly for both parties. The thing is almost everyone I've ever asked is like, you going to sue your customer? And most people like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to sue them. It's $1,500 a month. They're going to probably, you might be able to collect $4,500. And I think at $4,500, you're still in like small claims court or something. You might be able to do that, right? And so your court costs won't be incredibly high. But then you've got a customer out there who's going to leave a review saying, Tim sued me.
Yes. Right.
He sued me. Like, do you want to work with a company that will sue you?
No.
Well, exactly. no one wants to work with a company that will sue them, right?
Yes.
So it's bad PR. That's why on the very small business side of things, which is the playground you're in, contracts don't make any sense, because you're dealing directly with in almost every case, you're dealing directly with the owner. And if they stop paying because they're just unhappy for whatever reason, you're almost better off just walking away.
Right. And I would. But that conversation doesn't even come up about, and maybe it's my pitch where when I put the strategy and the plan together, it's okay. you put together a pay-per-click campaign. I need some Facebook marketing, maybe a website redevelopment. And maybe that's where I'm losing them. Okay, what's our 12-month plan? Whereas I put together the plan for, okay, here's how I can do that. And that's what we do for the month.
Right.
And then at the end of the month, maybe we continue. I send them, and do we keep going? And I'd like to be able to look out 3 months from now and say, I've had this conversation with this client, and they already know that we're working together in 3 months. Then I can go and hire someone and bring someone in and scale it from that point.
Right. Okay, so let's get to, what do you actually do for your clients? Like in that first month, $1,500, what do you do?
So for instance, I have a client that I put together a pay-per-click, Google or Bing advertising campaign for them.
Okay.
That includes any banner ads for display, keyword research, the strategy that goes behind the targeting, the implementation of all of that and uploading it. But probably 60% of that is the strategy of how we're going to target the customer. And I come up with a plan. We sit down, we go over the plan of, here's how we're going to, you sell X, here's how we're going to get people to X, here's what the market looks like. So I do a lot of analysis at the beginning.
Okay.
The implementation and loading all of that, it takes me literally a day because I've been doing this for so long.
Okay.
And then after everything is up, it's just optimizing. If it's, pay-per-click, optimizing the keywords, the bid, where they're showing, what are the results, what are the conversions, everything's tracked. I think when I talk to a lot of clients, I kind of hear that they want like an evergreen campaign, and they think, oh, it's up and it's running, I don't need you next month. And
right.
I explain what the optimizations are, and they kind of look at me like, do I really need that? And maybe that's on me by not explaining it. And in this side of the world, it's just all very simple to me because it just kind of all makes sense. Well, you need to do this, right? And
right.
So maybe I'm not conveying it properly of, here's what we're going to do in 3 months, but here's what we do this month in month one.
Right. Okay. So yeah, the sales process, we'll get into that in a second. You mentioned just like a few minutes back about websites. So that's why I was asking, like, what is it that you actually do? You didn't make any mention of websites in that 1,500.
So yeah, I do. I mean, I'm still at that stage where I'll do everything. So if
for $1,500.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do the strategy. I'll build their funnel site. I mean, I'm not going to build a 20-page e-commerce website for that, but I will build a funnel site to go to it. I'll tweak their page. I'll build content. I'll build them a Facebook page. I'm a la carte. So,
okay. And that's the problem. So like, you are building scope creep in right from the beginning, right? So there's no way for you to ever be profitable with that model. Ever. I don't care. You keep raising your rates, it won't matter because all your expenses are just going to rise with it. So you actually need to know, this is what we do, right? So then you do whatever's necessary to get everything up and running, and you're doing this for $1,500, and you don't tell them that after this month, then I have this plan for month 2 and a plan for month 3 and so forth, right?
Only if it's SEO, then I have a 3-month plan.
Well, SEO.
I try not to do SEO, and if I can, I'll farm it out because it takes too much time. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while I'll bring on an SEO client, but I do a 3-month plan with SEO.
Yeah, and in some markets that might be possible. Some like local, like really small local markets, not very competitive, that might even be possible. Yes. But like an SEO client, like go back over a decade for me now, I wouldn't take one even with a small business that wasn't a 12-month commitment.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what will happen. We think these things will happen in this first quarter, and then this will probably happen in the second quarter, and so forth. And then after that, it's just after that first year, it's just basically maintenance. Usually, with and then a big algorithm change happens, and then something new, and we got to rebuild. So I think one of your issues here is that you're not getting paid enough for the initial engagement. You're throwing way too many things in without any clear definition. Because you're going to give me all this stuff. Well, then next month you're not giving me all this stuff? And I'm paying you the same price as when you gave me all this stuff?
Yes.
I think I'm getting ripped off, because why would I pay you $1,500 for nothing? And that's and in their mind, that's basically what it is. And even after you did a month's worth of a whole bunch of work for me, I just don't see the value, right? You're setting yourself up for failure in all in a variety of ways. Okay, so now what's their customer value? What kind of clients are we working with?
So I've never niched down.
That's okay. What kinds?
Real estate investors, dentists, chiropractors. I even had a porta-john rental guy once.
Okay.
So I pride myself on customer acquisition. Whatever your business is, there's a customer, and I can get to the analytical side of how that customer thinks when they're using the internet, and where they're going to go, and how we're going to target them and find them. So, again, I'm stuck in this side gig freelance world of I just bid on jobs, and if I get one, then what do? Great, I can find you a customer for that. And I'd like to kind of pull away from that, not necessarily to niche down, but most of them are small to medium businesses.
Okay. Small to medium. Let's throw some numbers on that, because people use small to medium all over the place.
Okay. So a small business would be on an advertising spend, $3,000 to $10,000 a month. Medium would be probably $10,000 to $50,000 a month. Okay.
So they're spending that per month on ads with you.
Right.
And you're charging?
Yes. And I was charging $300, so.
Right. Okay. Right. So you can kind of see
I know.
Some of the issues here, because with somebody spending $3,000 a month, there's not a lot you can bill them on a monthly basis, but they're committing $36,000 a year, and they may be a relatively small company, a small mom and pop. 36 grand is a big chunk of money to them, right? So they're going to want you to actually do a great job.
Yes.
With their $36,000.
Yes.
So the first thing you need to do is do a project, and you're going to scope that out and be like, okay, we're going to build this first. I took a look at you. I took a look at what you're doing. I'm really good at what I do. Took a look at what you're doing. Here's what has to happen first. We're going to do this project. After that project's over, we're going to be doing this stuff. And then after that's over, we're going to have this 12-month plan to properly spend your $36,000. So you might see that you're charging, it may come out to a monthly budget of maybe $500 a month off of their $3,000. So they'll spend $3,000 plus $500, which, it's well, I'm already getting $1,500. It's yeah, except you need them to stay for a long time for you to recoup the costs of those initial projects. What I'm saying is you do phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And you get paid appropriately for each one, so that you're never in the red. You're every project is always in the black. And then it's monthly, Well, we have very little oversight. We don't have to do a lot. So we can charge them $500. I'm just throwing out a number, but we could charge them $500 a month, and it costs us $50 a month to actually deliver. Like our actual hard costs are only $50 because we did all that front end work and we were profitable the whole time. So we don't need this really small customer to pay us $1,500 a month.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So going away from just bidding, you need to have a solid portfolio. Case studies. We need great case studies. Turn portfolio work into case studies. If you said you pride yourself on getting people customers,
yeah.
Well, then how many of your customers have told the world how great you are at getting them customers?
So, and that's, I don't ask for referrals. I've gotten one referral from a client in 10 years. It's a client that I've had for 10 years, and she told someone else. I have case studies. I do a pretty good job of, I think I do a great job of getting conversions for clients. I make clients very profitable.
I didn't ask that. No. I'm going to interview. I'm going to stop you.
Right.
I don't care if you're good at it.
Right.
Do your customers tell the world
no.
that you're good at it? Right.
No. And so I never did. I just started launching my own Facebook page and Google page for the business because I never thought to kind of go social and push it out and ask for reviews and get those. I was very relaxed in what I was doing, and that was the wrong thing to do. And I realize that now. And so now I'm kind of starting at the bottom, and I'm like, I don't have reviews, and I should, and they would be very good. And so I should ask for the reviews. Again, these clients that I'm working with are these one-offs too. And
I do. I still do some one-off work, right?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
But I don't get paid $1,500 for it. I'll tell you that.
I know. And that's, look, before watching your information, I probably still would have been charging that. And I know it's not what I'm valued at. I don't even know what the value is. What do I charge? I don't know. What's the market rate?
That's why I asked you. That's why I asked you, who were you serving? And I asked, what is their customer value?
Right. So, right? Yeah, like a real estate client I have right now, his cost per acquisition is about $1,500. His profit on each sale is about $45,000.
Yep. How often does he actually collect $45,000?
At least once a month.
Okay, then you're not going to raise your rates on this guy because you've taught him that it doesn't cost that much, right?
Right.
So you build a case study, right, off of this person.
Yes.
And then you go find people who look exactly like this person.
That's what I spent the past week doing. I put together all the information of what I've driven for him this month, the sales that have come out of that, what our costs per leads are, and where I'm getting those. Mm-hmm. And I built a list on every other person that's within that group. And I have a target audience now to go after. The problem is I'm not going to do it for $1,500. Do I increase 20%? Based on some of your information, it's to come in and say, okay, month one, the strategy is this big number. We're going to put all this together, and then we do this management.
Okay.
Because the time that I put in initially on these clients, it's a lot of time. I mean, it's a lot of research, a lot of market analysis, and and you're right. They're not going to pay the same amount every month when I put all the work up front. And now they're just kind of paying it where,
right.
I guess, does it make sense then to take that number on a 12-month and say, okay.
No, I'm going to stop you. No,
okay.
It does not.
Okay.
You get paid for all the work that you do, always in the black.
Okay.
Put that up on a wall somewhere.
I will.
Always in the black.
Okay.
Like every job you do, every task you do, you're always in the black. Right? That also means you don't start working until there's money in your bank account.
That was what my next question was.
Yeah.
So I get clients who want to like, can we split payments for the month? And then I get shafted. Don't pay after I do the work.
Exactly. And anyone asking you stuff like that is already preparing to not pay you.
Okay.
Right? Red flag.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Then that red flag pops up and you still want to take them? Not only do you not split payments, you make sure that money is in the bank. There's absolutely no way they can do a chargeback or anything. Then you get to work.
So it's common practice to take payment up front in marketing.
Oh, yeah. You have to.
Okay.
Yeah, in marketing, you definitely have to, because a lot of people will be like, nah, I don't agree with that.
Right. Which is, again, going back to the freelance thing, they always pay you after. And so you're always in the rears because you're doing work, and then you're about 2 months in the rears for that money to actually come in.
Right. And that is a fast way to not eat.
Yeah.
Right. So we get paid up front, always in the black.
Okay.
Like our bookkeeper can be super happy with us because there's never any red, right? Like our bookkeeper will never own a red pen. It's just always in the black. What I mean by paid up front is if you think your project's going to take like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you might break that into, say, 3 phases. You get paid for phase 1 up front. Before you start phase 2, they pay for phase 2. Okay. And then before you start phase 3, they pay for phase 3. And then when you go into monthly, any kind of monthly recurring, they pay, and then you work. I think that's it. And ad spend, it's their card, not yours.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I learned that the hard way.
Oh yeah, because you'll get stiffed. You'll get stiffed on that too.
I did.
Right?
Yes.
So you need to make sure that you stay in the black the entire time. Now, you're asking, well, how much do you charge for somebody that you can make $45,000 a month? Well, what's his expenses? Does he get to keep all $45,000, or does he have to split that with the brokerage?
No, he's just a private investor. He does fix and flips. So he's got a VA and me and a salesperson.
Okay, so he's got all these other expenses, and the $45,000 is, if he does his job right, he walks away with some decent profit.
Yeah, correct.
If he can do that every single month, then he's making a killing, right?
Yes.
So you try to find other people just like that. Well, that means you've got probably anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month available to do marketing. Will you get $5,000 a month from people? Absolutely not, because they've got a ton of risk to get that $45,000. Right? They've got a ton of risk, so they're not going to pay a full $5,000, but they are most likely willing to pay for all the setup, your system, the system that you've developed, then to keep the whole thing going and refresh it and do some new strategy and some other things like that, at least quarterly, right? And then they would be willing to pay for you to make sure those deals always keep coming. And how much would they pay for that? Maybe $1,500, $2,000 a month. As a management fee, your labor, your thinking, all that stuff bundled in, maybe around $2,000 a month. On something that was less risky, like a real estate agent who walks away with a $45,000 commission check, then the fee can be much higher because their risk is far lower. because they're not putting up their own money to acquire that $45,000. You're going to find out what your price really can be to be able to do this work. And one of the things you said was, I'm not going to do this work for those other people for this price. Well, do they know how much you're charging?
I told them, yeah.
Well, everyone
shouldn't
else.
have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you shouldn't, because now that's what they're going to expect.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, like, I wouldn't tell them that.
Right, you don't ever tell a prospective client what you got paid on the last deal, because you're not the same person as the last deal.
Right.
You figured out a way to get a guy these great deals on a regular basis. That makes you incredibly valuable. So why would you let them know, oh, I'll only charge this guy that much money, but I'm going to charge you this bigger amount?
Yeah.
Not going to go. You're just not going to win.
It wouldn't happen. Right.
Right.
Okay.
So you just say, here's my price. I charge this for this, and then after we built everything, then we're going to do this part.
Okay.
And just take it or leave it. Don't negotiate your fee. Don't lower your rates for them.
Negotiate, but don't lower.
No. What I'm saying is don't negotiate. You will negotiate as long as you have stuff you can pull out of the project.
I see.
If they want a lower rate, you remove things from the project. But you have to tell them, well, these things here, we can remove that, and it'll lower it to this amount. Beyond that, we can't remove anything else, or it won't work.
Right.
Yes. I won't even take your money.
Right.
Because it just won't work.
Exactly.
Right.
How would I engage them so that they know that we're working together in 6 months?
One, why do you care?
Why do I care?
Yeah, because what if that client paid you $30,000?
Oh, I wouldn't care.
There you go. Right? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like you get paid for that initial project, the initial setup, and they pay and you charge $30,000 for it. Then monthly recurring revenue is just icing. See, a lot of people go at marketing completely wrong, because they go at it with my needs. You're like, oh, can I make sure they're going to be there in 6 months?
Right.
Like, as long as you're valuable, yeah, they'll be there.
Right.
But as soon as they start thinking, I could get this cheaper, or I'm not getting nearly the value that I thought, they're gone.
And a lot of times I think I run into, you built this campaign on Facebook and it's bringing in leads. And so what are you actually doing? And, I've had clients say, well, what do you actually do? Well, I go in and I look at the data of where the customers are coming from. And then I decide, then I get into like the logistics of it, which makes sense to me. But to them, they're going, yeah, but it's running and I'm getting leads and money. So if I don't pay you anymore, it'll continue to run and continue to bring leads, which it will, but eventually it'll slow down. And that's, I think, where I find that trouble too, is when I build it out, and I've had clients that say, hey, I want an evergreen campaign built out. You build it, I'll pay you, and then I don't want you to do anything, just let it run.
Okay. And you charge them appropriately, and then you let it run.
I charge them appropriately. That's the key, I think.
And then let them know that it's like, okay, we'll do this, but there is no such thing as an evergreen marketing campaign. Because it's like, you see this little page right here on your page where it says page transparency, and you click on that. Every one of your competitors can just knock off these ads, and then these ads will become less effective.
Right. Yep.
And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. There's no such thing as evergreen marketing. It does not exist. That's why Nike is not still running the same commercials that they were running in 1978. But you tell them, like, I build all this stuff if you're unwilling to, keep it running, well, then that's on you. Like, but I'm going to let you know that you're going to have to keep it running. You're going to have to learn how to do this, 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 and this other thing for this thing to continue to work. You prepared to do that? Oh, well, no, I'm not prepared to do that. Well, then, okay, we'll build the project and then you'll pay me and I'll do those things.
My goal is to pull away from the freelance website, which I don't mind using it, but I've become reliant on that. And I think that's part of my downfall of not being able to scale as well. Email campaigns, unsolicited phone calls. Should I join the country club and go golfing?
Marketing people who have no idea how to do marketing for themselves. It's crazy common.
I know. Okay, good.
Right?
Okay.
But that's the thing. It's like this is side income and you want to make it full-time income. Well, then we need to start putting some full-time thinking into it. Right? We start turning what we're doing into a real business. And one of the things that real businesses do is marketing, right? You're conflating doing essentially tiny RFPs on a marketplace with actually doing marketing. It's, all you're doing is a little bit of sales activities, right? So you need to start marketing. Actually market yourself as somebody capable of solving a particular problem. And then I've got a video on it called hit list marketing. Like, you go and you learn how to build a list of people that you can talk to. You start with those things. And will it be email and phone calls and things like? Probably. Like, the faster you need to get a project, the more annoying you have to be to prospects. You have to do all the interruption stuff to get their attention so that you get a chance to pitch them so you can make the money. But if you're in a position where you don't have to pay bills in the next month or two from this labor, then just attract people to you. Like, actually market yourself, market your company, right?
Right.
And attract them, because a sales conversation that starts off with, "Hey, do you have 5 minutes to talk? Set an appointment and talk to me about that," compared to, "Hey Tim, I saw that thing that you did on LinkedIn, and I'm doing that kind of investing too. So can we talk? Like, I would like to talk with you about this." Which one's going to be an easier sale?
Right. Yeah, the second one for sure.
Always. It always is. Somebody coming to you, seeing you as the expert for their problem, is essentially saying, "Can I work out some way to give you my money?"
Right.
Right? That's what they're doing.
Well, I think that's one of my driving points now, is when I see all these gurus that are out there and it's like, "Let me show you how you can get 30 new clients by doing this." And I'm like, God, I've been doing this a long time. And I know that, you're probably teaching the wrong thing or the bad thing. So now I feel it's my duty to go out and find these clients and give them the quality of marketing that they deserve, rather than you take a course on how to do Facebook advertising, then you go sell someone Facebook advertising. And I'm on those forums and I'll see someone that says, "Hey, I just sold my client. Now what do I do?" And I'm like, Oh man, you just made it harder for me to do my job because you don't know how to do your job.
Well, and you're not doing your job for yourself, which is to market yourself.
Correct.
I looked at your websites. And so there was like 2 that I think you sent me or I found, and they do not convey trust.
Yeah.
I saw them like, I would not personally give you money.
And I don't even promote those.
Right.
And that's the thing too. And I know I need to.
Well, I wouldn't promote them either. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like I wouldn't do that. Like, make the Tim Cohagen website. Like, make that. You can keep those URLs. That's okay. But you need to make the one that's got you saying, "Hey, I'm the expert at doing these things." Mm-hmm. And here's my case studies. Here's how they work. Here's what my past customers have said about me. Here's what my current customers currently say about me, right? And then you market that. You drive traffic to it. You get people to opt in. Maybe it's a webinar. Maybe it's a lead magnet of some sort. And it could be around the case study concept. And then you end up closing more deals. Past clients of mine, they wrote a book. And I was like, this is the best marketing tool you could ever come up with because your competitors haven't done it. So let's use this thing to get you a ton of business. And we did. We used that book to drive a ton of business. That book was a case study of all the different marketing things that they did for that client and the outcome that they created. I think it was like they made that, turned that client into a $5 million a year business. And it's like, that's a great case study. And we sold the book for free to 2 prospects and then closed them. And it made my client millions of dollars. Right? So that's the thing that you need to work on, is start attracting people. But if you need money now, you just pick up the phone, dial for dollars, you pound the pavement, like you do all the manual labor, old school, let's close some deals kind of thing. But if you don't have to do that, then you focus all your effort on building your authority. I've got the video on augmented reality. You've already got the expertise, so now you just need to craft the reality around that expertise so that it looks valuable. So people immediately go, oh, that's going to cost me some money, but I've got to have him do it for me.
So 2 questions. Would it make sense, because I promote myself more of an agency, which I'm not, I'm a consultant.
I would promote myself as Tim Cohagen.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have some contractors and everything, and you've got the, like, you'll be able to use them and stuff, but you're still not an agency. Don't have fake we's on your site, right? Okay. There better be real we's involved. So just tell people, this is what I do. I am a master at this. Here's my, I'm bringing art and science together for you to make you a bunch of money, right? Don't hide behind anything else. One day, you may have a team and go, you know what? I should probably showcase some of these other super smart people I have working with me, because then it'll just increase my augmented reality. I
think partly too, when it comes down to what I charged, it's because the work is simple to me. And so I was like, well, this doesn't take me long to do. And to me, it's easy and I enjoy it and it's fun. So, but now I'm starting to realize that people pay for my knowledge and what I've learned and gained over the years, not because it's easy for me to do.
One of the things I really want to break some thinking pattern. Doesn't take much time, right? That's what you said. It sounds like it took 10 years of your life.
That's true.
That took more time than ever.
Right.
Sit down, figure out, who do you serve? We'll wrap all this up, do it really quick. Who do you serve? What is their big problem? It doesn't have to be a niche. I'm not a niche guy, but they have to have the same problem. Everybody that you serve have to have this particular problem. And you've got a system that solves that problem. Now go and hopefully these people who have that particular problem are identifiable. Hopefully you can identify them by their actual names and phone numbers and email addresses. But if you can only identify them as the type of business, yeah, it's okay. But if you can actually truly identify who they are, even better. And then you go out and you send marketing messages to them. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Start a conversation. Show, it's like, see if they are interested in a case study that they can actually start implementing on their own. Give them results in advance, right? Get them engaged with you, and then try to set an appointment to discuss that problem that they have.
I'll do it.
And then you go back through and like watch this thing later and all the math and everything necessary to be a profitable company, and you build that in.
Okay.
Cool?
Awesome.
All right.
I appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks for coming on and doing this. And I think a lot of people are getting real value from these coaching sessions on the channel. So, thanks for coming on.
I know they are. We all appreciate everything that you do. So
thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And for everyone watching, if you appreciate it, then hit that like button, subscribe, share, and do all the socials. And I'll see you in the next video. All right. Thanks for coming on.